Reports are coming out that Sheldon Keefe is going to start Willy Styles at center. Do you think this move could work, or is it just a desperation move? Also, how does this affect him regarding his negotiations? That comes to us from Alex. Obviously, Leafs Twitter kind of like broke when it was announced that William Nylander will start the season, will start training camp at the center position. It's definitely a bold decision. It's definitely a decision that comes with some controversy. Because when you think of a center, obviously, when going over that, talking about Zegras, William Nylander defensively is not the most impressive defensive player in the league. He has been rapidly regressing at center. He just doesn't, from my experience watching him at least, he doesn't really care that much about the defensive position. And maybe that was just because he was playing right wing on a Leafs team that doesn't prioritize their forwards to play as much defense as, say, like a Carolina. But he's definitely going to struggle from a defensive aspect playing center. Do I think that he can do it offensively? 1,000%. He's one of the best even strength play drivers in the entire NHL. Overall, just extremely skilled on the offensive end. Sheldon Keefe's quote went so far to say, "I think Willie can do whatever he puts his mind to. He's that good." And again, I personally don't hate this move because why not? The problem with the Leafs last year, especially in the playoffs, was their depth goal scoring and just goal scoring as a whole. In the final 7 games of the playoffs, they didn't score they didn't score 3 goals, just 3 goals, not even more than 3. They didn't even score 3 goals in a single game. So I don't hate them kind of changing things up and trying something new, bringing in a William Nylander to play center, having 3. Obviously, the first line, Matthews and Marner, is going to be one of the best lines in hockey, and then basically having 2 second lines by splitting up Tavares and Nylander. And maybe even potentially it could be Nylander down the middle and then Tavares on the left wing. We can get into that later. But in terms of diversifying their offense, I think it could be the potential right move, considering they don't have a ton of winger depth as they did, especially heading into the playoffs last year after trading for a ton of guys. When looking at the Leafs lines this year, you look at it right now, it's Bertuzzi, Matthews, Marner, Nyes, Tavares, Lafferty. I would probably put Yarncroc up there or something. Then Robertson, Nylander, Domi. These are 3 very deep lines. I do like this. So instead of having William Nylander on that second line, you bump him down to the third. You switch Lafferty up there. I don't know if Lafferty's going to be up there. That seems a little bit absurd. But you have 2. If Matthew Nyes lives up to the billing, you have 2 very solid players on that second and that third line to carry the offense. And overall, it's a lot more depth. And even on that fourth line right now, you have Yarncroc, Camp, and I believe Ryan Reeves. That's a rock-solid fourth line. So when looking at the Leafs, yes, will William Nylander struggle maybe defensively on that third line? Yeah, but it's going to be one of the best offensive lines in the entire league. I don't think that that third line is looking absolutely horrendous defensively. With Robertson, Nylander, and Domi. Domi also doesn't play a lot of defense. I don't think that's going to be the lines. I think you're going to have to move. My hair looks horrible right now. I think you're going to have to not put Domi and Nylander together because that's just a recipe for disaster defensively. But again, why not at least try stuff in the preseason? Preseason, even the start of the regular season for the Leafs is all but irrelevant at this point. Preseason is always irrelevant. But the Leafs are going to be a playoff team regardless. Instead of, as Steve Dangle pointed out, it's better to start at the beginning of the season with Nylander potentially playing center than in an elimination game. So William Nylander has played some center for the Toronto Maple Leafs before. The only problem was he played when they were down 3-1 in a playoff game, and Sheldon Keefe just wanted to jumble things up and try to create offense. When you throw him in a position like that, out of nowhere, basically, to play the center position, yeah, he's probably going to fail because he doesn't have the reps, and it's such a high-pressure situation that he's second-guessing every decision that he makes out there because he's uncomfortable playing the position. So when you look at it, if you give him some reps in the preseason, maybe even some regular season, he's going to be more ready for the potential to play center down the line. Also, when you look at it, when John Tavares went down, I believe that he played some center. So if injuries happen, it's always good just to have your guys ready to step up at certain positions. So I personally really like this decision to potentially move Nylander to center. Will it be a full-time thing? No, but you might as well get those reps in because you never know what your team could look like after injuries, after trade, where he potentially could move Nylander to the center position and just overall potentially running out 3 deep lines. And that would be, even if you don't like Nylander defensively, there's no doubt that Matthews, Tavares, Nylander is the best 3C lineup in all of hockey. I mean, I guess Nuge usually plays on one of their wings, right? So it wouldn't be Nuge, McDavid, Draisaitl. But it's regardless. It's definitely the second best. It would be a disgusting center. And when you're playing the Leafs, usually you take it off during their bottom six. Like their bottom six has been arguably their biggest weakness, and now it would go to basically a strength. They'd be one of the best in terms of top three lines. Fourth line is going to be Ryan Reeves beating the shit out of people. But those top three lines are going to be absolutely disgusting and well balanced. But moving on.